Autopilot standing by.
So this has been quite the matchup because it's very obscure in the sense of, does he need that search? Does it need to resolve this effect? Because more often than not, they typically don't. So it's kind of like, oh, I'd rather just not negate this because what's the point? You know, because they already have the resource that they're after. But sometimes it can be a bit hindering. Like it can be quite impactful interacting with a search, a Dragoon search or something like that. But before all this, I was completely unaware that he was on Atlantean because last week he was playing, I think a couple weeks ago he was playing Unchained. So that's kind of what I was preparing for. And I think I do a weird line where I'm just trying to bait Ash. Pretty sure that's what I'm doing. So I go for my Griffin, discard the Terror Top, Special Griffin, put it in the zone that Cherubini points to, because, you know, just Ogre maybe. Just protected from destruction, go TEESPRING. TEESPRING adds my Sofafnir. This plays better into Ash, because I think I have inclusion already, so this way I can ensure that I get all the resources needed to push past an interaction. I mean, either way, I have my Griffin to negate anything, but I don't really want to use my Griffin for that. So then I go for inclusion. Inclusion searches my Trist, and Sofador Synchro into Alesk. Alesk adds back my trap. So I have everything in motion. Everything it's the way it's meant to be going. Tristar's effect, pop a Synchro, summon 2 Crystrons. And you summon a 2 and a 5 because this plays better into Nibiru, because you can at least chain Tristaros compared to just summoning 2 5s. And then LS summons back the Tristaros. So this is a much better route. So then I end on my full board basically. This is basically a typical standard, a typical Crystron board. We have an Omni, but since we're playing Adventure, we have double Omni. And this card is one of the new support cards that this deck has. It's a bounce, and it's cost to send from deck. So basically, it sends an Atlantean or a Mermail. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it sends one from deck to bounce a card. So I'm like, well, yeah, no, I'm not letting that hit the field. So I kind of have to negate this. And then I'm like, okay, Dragoon effect, I'll negate because maybe I can squeeze here, and maybe he doesn't have access to Prince. And this is a one of this equip spell or this reborn spell. So then I'm like, I have to negate it because he's trying to get to that guy that bounces most likely, right? But they play so many extenders, and I'm like, wow, okay, I think I might get cooked here. I chain my Tristaros. I go into Catastor in hope that he can't really clear it. I know that he played Toad, so that's where I'm like, okay, well, if he plays Toad, I can protect it from destruction. So then my guy won't die, right? So the Toad will be gone. But we'll see. He gets access to Prince, which is what I was trying to prevent, because Prince just generates so many resources. And he ends up summoning the big fish, which can summon a bunch of fish from his deck, which can be quite overwhelming. Summons back Dragoon, summons Moon Glacia, and then rips the last 2 cards in my hand. But one of them is my Dragoback, which I equipped. And the cool thing about Dragoback is that we can use that for Cherubini. Assuming we equipped it prior, we can send it off of Cherubini to protect itself, and then re-equip it and then protect again, which is pretty cool. And then he just goes for a Bahamut Shark into Toad, and then makes one of the new cards. I think that one reborns. I can't remember what that one does. Yeah, I think that one reborns too. I can't remember. And then he goes for Abyss Dweller. I'm like, okay, I'm getting kind of cooked here. And then he overlays for the Exceed guy that searches or that dumps something. I can't remember what it does. I'm still fairly new to all the new cards. And he just bounces all my stuff, and I'm like, okay, I think this might be over. Then I lose a fair bit of cards, and then he goes Battle Phase. I'm like, yeah, no, it's over. I just end up scooping.
Dual mode engaged. Autopilot standing by.
So going into game 2, after being completely destroyed, I'm like, maybe I have to pivot and have to do something different. So seeing as how we typically end on infinity, I feel like maybe spot removal will be a bit better instead of trying to prevent, because it has so much gas. So the thing with spot removal is that we can hold it for as long as we want, right? So I need to pre-establish my Omni. So the good thing is I open up Terra Top and Enchantress, so he's thinking about it here, whether he lets it resolve, and he's like, yeah, okay, it's fine. I mean, because what if I already have right? So he's just gonna deal with the Fateful and preventing me from getting my Griffin, right? Like, me getting Fateful on a token might benefit me, but he just doesn't want to deal with the Omni. So then now I add the Draco back, and then I try to go for Fateful, and he's like, hang on, and then he just uses his Ash. I'm like, okay, fair enough. So now if he has Nib, Nib is not much of an issue. Ash is gone, so that's not my concern anymore. So I think around this time, I'm like, I can't end on infinity again. I need to make sure that I establish spot removal over Omnis, because I think that'll just it's more the dynamic that it can present. It's way more versatile. So then I go for my cluster because I already have access to my Sofafnir. That Sichi was in my hand like almost every game. It's so annoying. I go for Sofafnir. I mean, so Sofador will dump my inclusion because I need to get access to my Tristaros. And I go for anything res, nothing. Okay, so then we go for Alesk. Alesk will add back our inclusion. And then we go Trist Effect to pop our Synchro, summon 2. Once again, remember, summon a 2 and a 5. 2 and a 5 plays better into Nib. And then we go end on C-Tree, Tristaros, and so it's all spot removal, right? Of course, like, we're vulnerable to like board breakers like Storm, Evenly, stuff like that. But not even then, because I can just go into my Dragster, because C-Tree is just whenever. It's not like Tristaros where Tristaros has to change something. So he starts with Teus, discards Dragoon. It's like, it's just insane. And then he goes Battle Phase. Tries to attack over my SP. I'm like, hell no. I activate my Trap Guard. And then what am I recycling? I think I recycle my Trist. Yeah, recycle my Trist. And then he goes main phase 2, and then he just tries to play. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. And this is the guy that bounces. Yeah, this is the guy from game 1 where he tries to bounce. And he goes cost. And I'm like, what is it? Does it target? He's like, yeah. So then he goes for SP. I'm like, okay, it's fine. SP chain, banish. Because I know that sometimes I need the level 7 to exceed with to make one of their ranks. And then he goes access to Prince. I'm like, oh my god, Prince is annoying. It just does so much for him. It's like crazy how much resources this guy gets him. And he goes Minstrel. Then he sees that I have inclusion and Dracoback, so he just gets rid of Dracoback. And then he goes pop that, I chain, and this is how we get our Koran Gandrax. I summoned another Sofafnir because I want to be able to float. And then I go effect, banishing up to 3 cards from graveyard or field. I banish those. I'm not sure what to hit, to be quite honest with you. I'm not entirely sure. He has 1 for 1. I was like, oh, fair enough. Okay, then he goes for the fish, and he just swarms me. I'm like, well, okay. I feel better because he doesn't have his battle phase this time, whereas last game he had his battle phase. So now I'm like, okay, this should be good. This should pretty. I have everything in grave. I had to push past the Dweller, but I have some pretty decent bodies on board. I have a 3K, 2K, and then I can pop something and then apply pressure, because Mermail, like, Atlantean doesn't really have a grind game from what I understand. Like, it's mainly like just overwhelmingly insanely turn 1 where they just hand loop you and build the board. But like the grind game is like, I'm not sure how strong it is. Maybe like a 5 out of 10 maybe. I don't know. I'm not too sure. So I go and he activates Dweller effect, so I'm locked out of my graveyard. Nothing can activate. Okay, that's fine. I just get my Omni. And oh yeah, and we forget, we're supposed to get back our Draco back and our SP, which could have come up because I could have used SP to banish any of his monsters, right? But I think it didn't really affect the game too much. I think I'm in a commanding position. I have inclusion, and then he just ended up scooping. But this is the dread here. This is the dreadful thing about losing game 1 and going second game 3.
Autopilot standing by.
Because now I'm hoping is that I open Lancia and draw. Because Lancia is not really good against his deck, but it's just to protect my draw. Like from stuff like this, right? Like if you were to do this, I go Lancia, he doesn't get the peak, and I keep my hand trap. And he hits my only interaction, my Nibiru. So I'm like, well, yeah, you guys know where this is going. I'm like, okay, now I gotta hope for an insane draw, and hopefully it's a droplet, because I think my hand's pretty decent. I think what was my hand? I have Nib, Sofador, Enchantress, and then I'm like, summon, and his board is just too much, and that's just gonna be it. My only loss on Swiss is crazy.